when you do hard things in exercise, you can do hard things everywhere else too. Because you push yourself and you push yourself sometimes to failure and you fail. The busiest season of your life is the best time to start. Culture has created this myth that we need to pause or we need to wait until there's a better time. And people want that because they want something easy, right? Everything else in life is hard. And they're like, I just want something easy. Well, we do hard things in life all the time. Anything worth having requires discipline. And the Lord honors you when you are sacrificing with a humble heart time to work on your body and your health for Him, for kingdom purposes, and knowing that you are a body and your body takes you to do all of these things. And so you are treating it well. He honors that and He's going to continue to honor that.
You're listening to the What the Gut podcast, where busy moms can come for a holistic approach to health and vitality. I'm Allison, your host, a holistic health and wellness coach. In this space, we'll dive into the intricacies of achieving holistic wellness while balancing the demands of daily life as a busy mom. What the Gut is your haven for navigating the challenges that come with juggling numerous tasks while aiming for a healthier, more balanced life. Join me as we uncover practical solutions to common health hurdles, from managing fatigue to understanding all things gut health. Through insightful discussions, actionable insights, and tailored lifestyle strategies, my goal here is to empower you to embrace a vibrant, nourishing life while saying goodbye to being overwhelmed and exhausted. So if you're ready to embark on this transformative journey towards holistic well-being, hit that subscribe button. Get ready to discover the secrets to thriving in motherhood while nurturing your overall wellness. A quick reminder, everything discussed here is for educational and empowering purposes only and is not intended for personalized medical advice. Consult your personal healthcare provider for personalized medical advice. Welcome to What the Gut, where we create our own path to holistic health, one episode at a time. Today on the podcast, I have Shalea Daugherty, and Shayla is a certified personal trainer who believes that every woman can build a healthy and fit lifestyle, no matter what season of life that they're in. She knows what it feels like to want to reach her health and fitness goals, only to fall short and never be satisfied. Her fitness journey left her depleted, anxious about her health, and trapped in an endless cycle of losing and gaining weight, and that caused her to find a better way in the wellness world. Over the past 10 years, she has helped numerous women find freedom in their health and fitness journey, to go from striving to attain a certain goal weight or physique to finding joy in movement and food without obsession. Shayla, I'm so happy to have you here today on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you, Allison. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, this is fun. So we've been talking about doing a podcast for a while. So it's
Yes.
always exciting whenever we finally get to come together and chat about all these things that we love. And
Mhm.
we both are experts in two totally different fields. And I love how we
Yes.
can just pour into each other and get feedback from each other on different things. So that's always awesome.
Mhm.
So I know that you have your own fitness journey and it's kind of been a roller coaster. I would really love for you to just share your story and how you got into this first.
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually tell people I was not athletic growing up, surprisingly. And my freshman year of high school, I decided to run track. And you'd think I'm like a small, people are listening, they can't see me, but I have a pretty small frame. I'm like, freshman year of high school, I was like 5 foot nothing. And I'm still only 5'2". And so very petite, small frame. People are like, oh, you're going to be a fast runner because you're pretty small, and I was the slowest person on the team. If they needed somebody else to boost their ranking, they would put me with them so that I would boost their ranking and come in last. And so I was super slow. After my freshman year, I was like, I should probably focus on academics because sports are just not for me right now. And totally fine. And so I focused on academics. When I hit college, I started running socially because all of my friends were runners. And I was like, I guess this is like the thing to do. And so I just, like, would go running with people and do, like, 5Ks randomly and not really ever train for it. I was just like, "Oh, I guess, like, my friends are doing it. It's cool. Let's go run trails." And it was awful. I did not enjoy running, but I just did it because I was with my friends. That's my experience with exercise growing up. But in college, I felt called to full-time vocational ministry in a church setting in children's ministry. And so I ended up going to get my master's out in Fort Worth, Texas. And when I moved out there and the first semester I was there, they had a CrossFit style class on campus. And I had been dating a guy that was really big in CrossFit. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go join this CrossFit class and I'm going to go home and be like CrossFit shredded and impress him. So I joined this CrossFit class and it was actually amazing. It was the first time in my life where I felt like I could do anything. I interned at my church the following summer and even my boss was like, "Shayla, you're just so much more confident about things." And I was like, "I think it's exercising." This is what I tell my clients all the time. When you do hard things in exercise, you can do hard things everywhere else too. Because you push yourself and you push yourself sometimes to failure and you fail. And it was the first time I learned in my life that I could fail and be okay. Like, I'm a perfectionist at heart, but during CrossFit, you're supposed to do max reps and you try to go really, really hard sometimes and go really, really heavy until failure. And I would totally fail and like just
Yeah.
not, hit the rep or hit the clean or the squat and, those kind of things. And I just remember feeling so free because I could not hit it and be okay and not be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a failure." It was like, "No, that's awesome. I made it this far and I'm gonna keep pressing towards that." And so in that time frame of being in seminary and learning theology of the Lord and scripture, the Lord really started mending and really building this bridge between my body and my relationship with Him and the commonalities between them and my relationship with the Lord and how my fitness could be a platform for spiritual disciplines, and spiritual disciplines could be a platform for my health and my wellness. And so that's really when the Lord started merging those two together. And then I was working full time in ministry at a church, but I ended up getting married to my now husband, who is also in ministry. And we knew I didn't want to work in the same church with him because one, I didn't feel called to, but then two, he's in student ministry. I was in children's ministry. And so we would always have conflicting schedules on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. We would be in two different places, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to serve alongside my husband. And so we were like, what am I going to do with my life? Because this is what I've trained for. And the Lord was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I guess I could do health and fitness. And so I went and got my CrossFit certification and then went and got my certified personal trainer, prenatal, postpartum, yoga, just ended up doing all the things and that's really how I started building my business and really learning how to teach others to do it. But it was really 2016, I'll say, was like the turning point in my health and wellness journey where I wasn't a trainer yet. I wasn't a trainer until 2017. But the summer of 2016, I was actually the heaviest I've ever been in my life, including 3 pregnancies. I'd been using macros. If it fits your macros was like a big thing back then. It still kind of is, just in a different way. But I'd been dieting for almost a year and a half, just constantly trying to lose fat. And my body was stressed and ended up heavier, was still continuing to cut calories, still, do hard workouts, cardio, adding in all the things. And I was left heavier than I've ever been in my life. And it was very discouraging. I was a good 25, 30 pounds heavier than my baseline normal weight. You could see I was inflamed, I was puffy, I was a little swollen. I remember someone making a comment. She didn't mean it in a bad way, but sometimes people's comments, you're like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
She was like, "You're looking a little, a little stout." She was like, Do you mean to look that way?" I was like, "Well, sometimes in fitness, you, like, try to gain bulk." And, I
Right.
kinda played it off like that, like, I was bulking or whatever, but reality was, like, I was just gaining weight and I couldn't stop, and
And
I was eating
reality is
less.
no woman ever wants to be called stout.
Right. I was like, "Well, thank you for that." That definitely added to my phobia, and ended up, pushing me, not her comment, but myself, like, pushing me to wanna cut calories even more because I was like, "Well, obviously, I'm looking a little fluffy, like, I need to take care of this." But in 2016, when I just kinda hit my peak weight and I was like, "Why am I cutting calories? Why am I going so hard only to be left like this and to be left overweight?" And I just paused on exercise for about a month. I was like, "I'm just gonna give my body a break." I'm not a huge fan of saying, "Oh, let's just press pause," but in that moment, the Lord was like, "You have to stop." And if you don't stop, you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to end up even worse. And so I'm so thankful that I stopped in that moment because I just didn't know what to do and I didn't understand what was happening to my body. And for probably 4 to 6 weeks, I just fueled my body and just ate when I was hungry. And that's really when I started to learn intuitive eating. And then I started going back to the gym, but just more gentle workouts and exercise. And that's really when the Lord changed everything. And when I ended up becoming a personal trainer, it's because of that that pushed me into that world of health and fitness because I understood and I learned, okay, this is not the way. Cardio and cutting calories and going harder is just not how this works. It pushed me to really understand why and start researching and getting certified and educated in it.
Yeah, I love that story. It just really stuck out to me, especially being a perfectionist, that you were allowed to let yourself work to failure without being disappointed in yourself.
Yeah.
I know that you said you were working out super hard, but you weren't getting anywhere. You were gaining weight and everything. I am curious. I know a lot of women, somewhere along the way, we have heard if you want to work out, lose weight, you've got to do a ton of cardio. I don't know where that came from, but that was kind
Mhm.
of my belief too before I started working out myself. But I'm also not a certified personal trainer or
Yeah,
trained
yeah.
in any kind of fitness. But is cardio really the best form of exercise for weight loss?
No. And I'm sure the listeners could tell that I was
Yeah.
going there. But yeah, that's the thing. And I think the reason why, like, because to begin with, now I was doing CrossFit, but I was also running. I started running again when I was in seminary.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was doing like 2 a day workouts. So I would go run 3 miles, 5 miles, and then do a really hard CrossFit workout. And then later that night, be doing something before bed. And to begin with, I was seeing results, but there is, like, this, quote, unquote, "magic" of exercising for the first time, of, like, when you start moving your body, you're gonna be burning calories, and so if your body's not used to that, which it wasn't for me, like, I didn't
Mm.
exercise except for socially, I started seeing results, and it was addicting because I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, my arms look great." I was, like, sending my family pictures of my abs because 'cause I'm like, "Look at this, like, I did this," you know?
Yeah.
It was a little bit addicting, and so the assumption was from there, well, this is what's working to get me the results, and I'm counting macros. This is what's gonna get me where I wanna go because that's how I'm seeing results right now. Automatically, when people start moving their bodies more, they're gonna start seeing a change. Even if they're just walking, they're gonna
Yeah.
start seeing a change in their body. The reason why I say no for weight loss is because there's good stress and bad stress in your body. And I'm sure you know this with gut health, Allison. Good stress is going to help your body. Bad stress is going to hurt your body, but you're going to have both. You're going to have good stress and bad stress, but there's this rhythm your body has to get used to with both of those. And a stressor for your body could be anything that takes it out of homeostasis, which is like optimal living. And so if you were to imagine two different types of people, one being this 40-year-old woman who's a smoker, does 10-hour shifts, two young kids, back pain. You can imagine she has a lot of stressors in her life. She's working 10-hour shifts. She's also smoking. She has two young kids she's taking care of. Plus, she also has back pain. There's a lot of stressors going on in her body. And then imagine this 20-year-old kid that has no kids, isn't married, no relationship, lives at home with affluent parents who are supporting her, has all the time to devote to training and nutrition and all of those things. That girl's stressors are gonna be a lot better for her because she's challenging herself in a healthy way because she has, like, the environment to do so. Whereas if the 40-year-old is trying to challenge herself in exercise and cardio with all of these other stressors, it's only going to add to inflammation in her body. One's gonna overtax her, the other one's gonna challenge her, and that's where it's this rhythm, kind of this dance in our bodies of, like, what's going to challenge it without overtaxing it. And because with cardio, particularly, and you probably see this in the gut with inflammation, but if they're taxing their body too much, it's going to lower their immunity response. And that's going to lead to infection and all the other things. And you could speak more to that. I see the
Yeah.
outside of things, you speak to the inside of things. But I can tell when someone is inflamed and there's something going on, they're not ebbing and flowing with good and bad stressors. They're probably just having those bad stressors. And how we view those stressors too, I think also has to do with it. Mindset is huge. I think often when we're doing hardcore cardio, we get frustrated when we're not seeing the results. And that mindset will affect how our body responds. What we're thinking will affect how we're feeling, which then affects what we're doing. And that's actually a term called psychoneuroimmunology because it affects our immunity.
Yeah.
And so our thoughts affect our nervous system, which affects our immunity. Cardio is great because you need it for good heart health, but too much of it, just like anything in life, too much of anything can be a bad thing. But you have to find that rhythm in your own life of what other stressors do you have in your life? And do you need to be doing cardio 5 days a week? Probably not, you know?
Right. You mentioned a 40-year-old woman who does work long hour shifts and maybe doesn't have the best lifestyle and is under a bunch of stress at home, has kids. Then I think it's even more important that you find somebody to work with, like a personal
Yes.
trainer, so that you can figure out what kind of workout and nutrition is
Mhm.
best for your body,
Yep.
because not everybody is the same. And
Mhm.
for me, especially with gut health, that was huge for me. I tried to do it on my own for so long
Mhm.
of I'm eating healthy foods. I'm doing all the things, but I still had issues. And it's not just about doing the right things. It's
Yeah.
about finding what's right for you and your body.
Yes.
Because, I mean, like, healthy foods, for example, there's a lot of healthy foods that are still inflammatory, and if you're
Mhm.
consuming too much of those, it can be an issue, and same thing with fitness, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so where do you think that this myth came from, though, that cardio is the way to weight loss?
I think while the fitness industry is huge, it's actually relatively young. At least in America, it's relatively young. Exercising for health, that wasn't a thing until like
Right.
the 80s, 90s, really even the 2000s. Like exercise in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Now, 90s was like jazzercise kind of,
Right.
thing. But it was all for either weight loss or specifically for some type of aesthetic result. And it's just now becoming more commonplace that it's a lifestyle to exercise. So, because the industry is still so young, 30, 40 years, that's not that old if you think about it. Because it's still so young, there's a lot of research still coming out about things. And I think there was just a lot of misunderstandings to begin with. And if you trace back the history of exercise, jazzercise, and who was it? Simmons. Oh, was it Robert Simmons? Like the guy that did like the big,
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
yes, step.
I wanna say Gene Simmons, but wasn't he like in Kiss or something?
Yeah. Anyways, so everyone's,
Richard
uh,
Simmons.
Richard, there it is. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was, like, doing the step aerobics, and, like,
Mhm.
aerobics was huge because bodybuilding was big with men. That's what strength training was for. Lifting weights was for bodybuilders. And so women, it was like, "No, you need to have this physique, this aesthetic. You need to have the curves," and Curves literally was the name of a women's gym for a couple decades there, and the thought was aerobics was going to be what would help women get those bodies. And so that's what really started this idea, this myth of, okay, this is what's going to help women see results because women shouldn't have muscle mass. Not that they shouldn't have muscle mass, but that was
That
the
was the thinking.
the thinking, the underlying tone was like women shouldn't strength train because then they're not going to be as aesthetically pleasing and they're going to look too muscular or too manly. And that's where that's just kind of stuck over the years. And now we're kind of getting to a place culturally where it is becoming more common for women to strength train, but there's still a lot of women in that mindset. And it makes sense because if you think about it, when you're doing some sort of cardio, you're burning a lot of calories and calories in, calories out, right? That's what people think. Well, if there's inflammation in your body or disrupted gut health, that's actually not how it works because you have so many things fighting against you. That's traditionally, yes, how it works if your body's working really well. And when you first start exercising, there's like this magic called body recomposition and the magic of first exercising, so to speak, where you're going to see more results because you're just moving more. And if
Mm,
you're cutting your calories too at the same time, then you're going to see those results. But continuously, that's not gonna work anymore. You're either gonna have to continue to cut calories, which isn't gonna be helpful for you long term, or you're gonna have to increase your cardio, but then that's gonna add more inflammation, which is then gonna lower your immunity. And then this whole cycle goes in and out, and then you're gonna wanna stop exercising because 'cause you're tired and sick all the time, and then you're gonna start back up, you know? And that's that yo-yo cycle of health and fitness. I think that's really where it got started was just I think even mindset, even for me, it was like, well, this is what helped me lose weight to begin with and get lean and ripped. And so obviously that's going to work long term, but it's not going to. And it's only going to make things worse in the long run.
yeah. So, for weight loss, what is the best form of exercise?
I'm a huge proponent of strength training, resistance training, strength training. I'll say those interchangeably, but resistance training is really the proper term for it, which is just using weights, free weights, even using machines at the gym, building lean muscle mass. And lean muscle mass is kind of a misnomer. All muscle mass is lean, but lean is just a really like a trigger word right now for women. They're like, "Oh, I want to be lean." And so we all say lean muscle mass because that
It's better
just
than stout.
Yes, I would have loved for her to have said, "You look leanly
Wait.
stout," or something.
Oh, that still gets me.
Yes, yes, but yeah, so strength training is really gonna be resistance training using weights because muscle mass actually burns more calories at rest than cardio does. So, not knocking on this, but, Orange Theory, literally the last 2 or 3 clients I've talked to, big burn boot camp people, but
Yeah.
highly inflamed. And I don't know if it's, what's the cause? What's the causality? Were they inflamed first and then they were doing it, or did it
Yeah.
lead to it? I can't speak to that so much.
I see a ton of that as well though, and
Okay.
it's not knocking on those places, but a majority of my clients come from that being a background in their fitness, and they have got severe inflammation, and I think
Yeah.
that from what I've seen, I have gone to one of those places one time for a free session. I went with a friend, and I was like, "This is not for me."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in Orange Theory particularly, I mean, I actually went for a few months back in 2016, which was when I was the heaviest I had ever been. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I loved it because it's one of those things where when you do hard things, it's addicting. And like Orange Theory is hard. Burn Boot Camp is hard. Like they have this a reputation of being hard. And especially with Orange Theory, you wear like a whole chest monitor thing and
Yeah.
or it may be something else now. We had to wear it like around our stomachs, but it shows you how many calories you burn during the workout. And I mean, sometimes I would burn upwards of 700 calories in a single session, which I was, wow, that's amazing. But the thing is, I wasn't really building muscle because it was a lot of cardio. And so I was just burning those calories in the moment. But when you are resistance training, training with weights, there's this effect called EPOC, which is like, I don't know why it's EPOC, but it's post exercise oxygen consumption. That when you are strength training, you're not actually burning a lot of calories in the moment, but you're going to burn more calories throughout the day because of this effect, which is like an afterburn effect where you have extra oxygen in your body because it needs to recover from the workout from the strength training session, and particularly after an intense session of either heavier weightlifting or it could be moderate to intense weightlifting. But when you lift weights, your muscles are working hard and then they need that energy to do so. And then during this process, your body is utilizing more oxygen to fuel your muscles. This is kind of getting into the science of it, but and that produces energy. And then after your workout, your body doesn't just go back to its resting state, which happens with cardio. When you're doing cardio, once your heart rate comes back down, your heart rate comes back down and you're done. You're done burning calories. But after a strength training or resistance training session, your body doesn't just go back to a normal state. It is now continuing to consume more oxygen at an elevated rate in order to help replenish your body and your energy stores and repair muscle tissue and remove any byproducts that it needs to remove as well. And so there's this after effect that strength training has on your body that's actually more effective long term for weight loss, but also just for body composition and for just health in general, that's going to help bring about more physical change and health in your body than continuously doing cardio. And like I said, you need a good balance for your body, like you were saying, going back to the woman 40 who's a nurse working 10-hour shifts, two little kids. That's already a lot of stressors on her body. And so she's not going to need a whole lot of cardio sessions. Probably only one cardio session a week for her is going to be healthy, and probably only two moderately intense strength training sessions a week is going to be healthy for her. But someone like the 20-year-old who doesn't have anything, four strength training sessions a week and two cardio sessions a week is probably going to be more challenging for that person. And so it's all about figuring out what's best for your body. But Lifting weights is going to help fuel your body more, and it also helps increase mitochondria in your body, which is your energy because you're having to build new energy to recover, and that
Okay.
helps with your immunity too.
Mhm.
Whereas cardio, it's building your heart health, but it's not building your mitochondria stores, which is your energy stores. It's really just depleting them and then not rebuilding them because you just go back to a regular resting state.
Yeah.
Whereas building muscle mass is gonna increase that even more.
Yeah, and mitochondrial dysfunction, if you're one of my clients, you've heard me say it, that is the root of all health issues. And with strength training too, I know that you end up gaining more muscle, but you're burning more calories and you're getting lean.
Mhm.
Whenever I first started working out, I was one of those people that just never really worked out. I was like, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm not going to work out. I don't want to work out.
Right.
And I wasn't seeing a lot of results. And so I started doing a lot of walking. And at first, I was seeing the results, but over time, I was like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere. So I started strength training. That was in 2020. So
Mhm.
gyms were shut down and everything, but I was at home, I had a newborn, I bought some weights, and I just did workouts at my house, and that's what I still do because it works for me, but that's when I started actually seeing results and losing a little bit of weight, and losing weight wasn't my primary goal, but just trying to get in shape,
Yeah.
and I was so blown away because I wasn't pushing myself to failure, I was just being consistent with strength.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Maybe there's something to this."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There
Yeah.
is. Fat deposits take up more space.
Yeah.
And so a 5 pounds worth of fat deposit is going to take up, let's say, the space of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, whereas 5 pounds of muscle mass is going to take up a third of that sheet of paper. And so muscle in that 5 pounds of fat, if you were to have the same amount of muscle mass to replace that width of fat, that would be like 15 pounds of muscle mass. So when we say the phrase muscle weighs more than fat, it's not necessarily that it weighs more, it just takes up less space. But if you have more muscle, it can take up more space. And so 5 pounds of muscle is going to look way smaller than 5 pounds of fat. And
Right.
that's where body recomposition, when you're just starting out, that can happen where you may see some weight loss walking or doing whatever else, and you may see some fat loss. But if you're not strength training while you're losing weight, you are also going to lose muscle mass.
So, where can someone start who's trying to get back into working out or maybe has never worked out before, but they're a super busy mom? Where would they start?
Yeah. So I would argue, and this is what I tell people all the time, that the busiest season of your life is the best time to start. And they're like, what? Because again, culture has created this myth that we need to pause or we need to wait until there's a better time. And we've done that because there's these 30-day detoxes or 30-day whole food challenges, or there's these certain time frames where they're like, you can get this result in this amount of time, and people want that because they want something easy, right? They like everything else in life is hard. And they're like, I just want something easy and I want my body to be easy. Well, we do hard things in life all the time. And that's hard. And I understand that. But anything worth having requires discipline, and that includes your body. And so when you are in the busiest season of your life, just starting small. And that is the hardest thing for people. That is the hardest thing for people is to just start small because we want to see the results quickly, or we want to know, hey, if I'm doing XYZ for 6 weeks, I'm going to receive whatever the result is. And while they can do that, it's only going to lead to the yo yo cycle of health and fitness or the inflammation. And they're going to end up coming to see you because they're like, what's wrong with my body? And it's like, well, you weren't consistently doing something. But starting small is so hard for people because in a culture that celebrates CEOs and celebrates woman empowerment and celebrates leaders and what's out there for the people who aren't in those positions. People don't celebrate them. There's a reason why they're Instagram influencers because they're celebrated, because they have a certain thing that the world wants from them. For those of us who don't have quote unquote what the world wants from them, it's really hard to get our mindset into the mindset that, like, no, something small is enough because we're so used to seeing that not be enough and being told that's not enough. You need to be doing all of these things in order to make it or to be enough in this life. And starting small and celebrating the small things is what's going to lead to a healthy and fit lifestyle lifelong, that you're going to be able to hold on to it and keep a hold of it. And so that's the encouragement to begin with, is just start small. And I'm going to give some practical like takeaway examples here, but just start small and celebrate that. Mindset has everything to do with it. And so if you feel like something is not enough, it's not going to be enough for you. But if you're like, okay, just drinking my water every day is enough right now, then it's going to be enough and you're going to feel confident and more motivated to continue on. But when you look down upon the things like just doing 10 squats every day, like, what? Just I'm gonna do 10 squats. I got an email from someone the other day who's in my app, and I was checking in on her and seeing how she was doing, and she was like, "Who knew 10 squats would be so hard?" And I was like, "Yeah, they can't be, but kudos to you for just doing those 10 squats every day and
Right.
just doing the squat challenge and that being enough for you in this season of life, because that's what makes your relationship with your body and your relationship with fitness so much better, because now you have a positive association with your fitness journey, and instead of this negative association of like, well, I have to do all the things and I'm never going to have enough time, or someone's going to get sick, or all these things, we have to create those positive associations. And so, some practical takeaways when you're in a really busy season of life, and I'm saying this from experience because I have 3 kids under the age of 4 right now. Like one is a newborn, and by the time this comes out, he won't be a newborn anymore, but still young. And I'm married to a pastor, so busy schedule. I run my own business. And I'm not saying that, hey, because I can do it, you can do it. But I am saying I understand it and I get it because I'm in the thick of it. And I have to start small too. And I had to start small after my last son was born, like you were saying in 2020.
Mhm.
But, my last son had health issues. And so I had to go at a much slower pace for myself, and a very frustratingly slow pace because I'm used to doing a lot. But it's been worth it because I've been rebuilding back the habits that I need. And then when we start small, we build habits that are going to last a lifetime because we're not doing too many things at once. And so schedule it in there. First of all, in order to schedule it, you have to know what you're doing. And so I would say find a program to do at home. A lot of women will be like, I need the accountability. I need to go to the gym and do something. That's what helps motivate me. And I'm like, that's great. But is that working for you right now? Like, I know that sounds a little harsh, but if you're stuck because that's what you need, then it's not working for you. If you aren't getting your exercise in because you feel the need and you keep telling yourself you have to have people surrounding you in order to get your workout in, then you're only going to stay stuck. But if you can say, okay, let me buy something at home, just get a couple weights, my app, The Stronger Collective. We have super simple workouts, or get some weights and make a plan. That's the first thing. Make a plan, get a workout program, and then just do 1 day a week, but schedule it, put it in your planner. But here's the thing, don't miss the appointment with yourself. And I know that that sounds cheesy, and people have probably told other women that before, but don't do that, because when you miss that appointment with yourself, like again, mindset, you're telling yourself, it's not worth it for me in this time frame. And there are
Right.
other important things to do than this right now. And you have to start reshaping the importance of fitness in your lifestyle. And so schedule it, just do 1 day a week. That's enough
Mhm.
for right now. And that's amazing. And celebrate that that's enough. So schedule it, do 1 day a week, find a workout, or just like when you're brushing your teeth every day, you do that for a minute. Do some squats while you brush your teeth. Just add that in every day. That's twice a day, hopefully. Twice a day, you're brushing your teeth. And you can get at least 10 squats in each time. That's 20 squats a day. Something is better than nothing. Or while your coffee's brewing, instead of going and doing all these other things, once you press that button, do some squats or do some incline push ups or something. You can do
Yeah.
little things. Start associating something positive to your fitness so that you're reshaping that mindset, but also really saying, wow, yeah, I'm in a really busy season of life, but snap, I just got 2 workouts in this week. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, pep yourself up. It's okay to pep talk yourself and be like, I'm an amazing human being. And the Lord honors you when you are sacrificing with a humble heart time to work on your body and your health for Him, for kingdom purposes, and knowing that you are a body and your body takes you to do all of these things. And so you are treating it well. He honors that, and He's going to continue to honor that as well.
You're talking about just simple strategies for people during busy seasons. I'm a mom of 3 as well, and something that I did when mine were really little, and I mean, it was COVID, granted, so we didn't have a lot of other things to do, but before my son would ever eat, not after, but I would
Mhm.
actually just lay on the floor and lift him
Yeah.
because I think I didn't have any weights yet at the time, and I
Mhm.
would just do different things like that, and my girls saw me, and even to this day, if I'm spending time with them, I don't necessarily take the time away from them to work out. I mean, if I have to, I do,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they know that it's important. But one of mine, especially, she likes to work out with me.
Mhm.
I'm instilling those things with my children, and they see that and they see that it's important. And so,
Mhm.
because one of the biggest excuses that I think I hear from my clients is I just don't have the time to take for
Mhm.
myself, or I have a hard time taking time for myself when I need to be with my kids. And I always tell everybody to just start walking if they don't work out, work on strength training. I don't get into all the specifics as much as
Mhm.
you would, of course,
Yeah,
but I definitely emphasize movement as being a huge part of healing. And
it is.
there's not I don't think that there's an excuse. You can't say, "Well, I'm just too busy for that." You make time for what's important. So,
Yes. Yeah, and I would even say, like, I mean, sacrificing time with other people can be honoring, like I said, if it's not
yeah,
obsessive, but I think it comes down to if you have young kids, kind of training them. With my kids, I'm very purposeful with, like, 1 day a week, and right now it's more than 1 day a week, but before I had my last baby, 1 day a week, I would make sure to do a workout while they were awake and around, and yes, it took longer. A 20-minute workout would take 45 minutes, but first of all, that passed the time with my kids, but it was this training opportunity of, "Hey, right now it's time for mommy to work out. You can play independently. You can do this with me." But then also they're seeing it build into your lifestyle. And
yeah,
if you have older kids, if your son's mowing the lawn, just go in the driveway, go work out, depending on where you are and how hot it is. It's really all a training opportunity for your children too. And thinking of it like that too, when we show our kids that we're doing this not just for results or weight loss, that we're doing this because this is good for mommy's body. This is healing to move. Like you said, it's very
yeah,
healing to move. When your body moves, your mind renews. Scientifically, your neurons are firing, they're doubling. When you're explaining that to them, you're showing them the importance of this, and you're showing them the importance of a lifestyle, not just a cultural yo-yo cycle of I'm doing this to lose and gain weight. A lot of us have that mentality of like, oh, I'm going to do this 6 week program, this fat loss diet, Weight Watchers, all these things, which can all be helpful tools. But when we make it only about the results we're going to get, that affects our kids. And it also
yeah.
tells our kids that our bodies aren't enough.
Right,
And we want to instead, again, change our mindset, but also culturally change our kids' mindset as they're growing up in this world that like exercise is for health. Exercises can be fun. It's for longevity of life. That's when we make a difference in this world too, in our bodies, but also for our children's bodies and what they're going to grow up and do and see. And when they have families one day, what they're going to prioritize too, because they'll either see us do it in a healthy way or they'll see us do it in an unhealthy way. They're gonna repeat it either way. They're gonna repeat the healthy way or the unhealthy way. What do you want your kids to do and repeat one
right,
day, you know?
exactly. Yeah, I love that. Shayla, this has been an awesome conversation. I know that you have got a new app coming out this year. Can you tell me about what that looks like?
Yes, so it is called The Stronger Collective, and it's really something that the Lord gave me a vision for several years ago, but he's just now like, "Okay, here are all the people and here are all the places." So, it's a collaborative space of multiple trainers and life coaches, and purpose really behind it is to be stronger together for a stronger you, but also to just help women see that they can make health and fitness a lifestyle, particularly through the lens of the gospel and scripture and just helping them break free from cultural's demands or cultural standards of our bodies and really seeing our bodies for what they are and how we have bodies and they allow us to do things and just the gift that it is. And it's just this really amazing group of women who all have this passion for helping women get free and stay free, really, in their health and their fitness and build these health and fitness lifestyles lifelong. We have multiple trainers, myself included, one who works with women specifically 40 plus for perimenopause, menopause. And then we have a Pilates instructor who also is like prenatal postpartum certified. Pilates is super helpful during menopause as well. And then we have another trainer, she has PCOS. And so she really works with women who have PCOS, but then also just chronic health issues. So many women have chronic health issues these days. We are really gearing it toward women who need a safe place to exercise who have chronic health issues. And so that's really the premise behind it. Our workouts will be tagged, programs will be tagged if they're PCOS friendly or menopause friendly or Hashimoto's or things like that. And so if they have some kind of either chronic health issue, we will really be approaching that in a safe way through the background of all of our trainers and our health coaches and even our life coaches. They're going to a couple life coaches in there that are just going to be giving motivational talks to just help keep women going and really understanding what it means to break society's standards of their body and really help them heal their body mindset wise because health and fitness, like I've said multiple times, the four pillars of your body is your fitness, your nutrition, your stress, and your sleep. Your stress really is related to your mindset in
Mhm.
all of those ways. These life coaches are there to really help shift the women's mindsets and begin to heal those neuro pathways and build new ones in a positive way toward their body. Just break those chains for themselves and for their families one day.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's really
Yeah,
exciting. I
it's
can't wait
amazing.
to hear more about it, see it
Mhm.
when it comes out. Do you have anything else you wanna leave our listeners with, Shayla? I feel like we've covered a ton.
Just celebrate starting small. Like, that's a good
Yeah,
thing. It really is a good thing, and don't discount it just because it feels small. Remind yourself, "This is good." Gratitude is everything in life, and so just continue to remind yourself the small things are worth it. Give yourself patience and grace in the process.
for sure. Well, thank you so much for this, Shayla. It's been great.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a part of my journey on What the Gut podcast. For a deeper dive into today's topics, head over to allisonandwellness.com/whatthegut or find the detailed show notes linked below. Hey, and don't miss out on future episodes. Hit that subscribe button, and if you love this one, please leave me a review. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Connect with me and stay updated and engaged with my awesome community. Plus, share these valuable insights with your tribe. They deserve to feel as amazing as you do. You can find me at Allison_and_wellness on Instagram. Your support means the world to me. I'm looking forward to our next awesome chat. But until then, stay curious, don't drink too much coffee, keep the vibrant energy flowing, and take care of your gut. Catch you real soon. Oh, and hey, if you're ready to dive deeper into personalized wellness, check out my one-on-one health coaching program at allisonandwellness.com. Let's make your journey to holistic health truly transformative.